Good morning, dear Stitchers. I'm back with another video. I missed a week because things here at home have been a little crazy. So welcome to Flosstube number 38. And I am Judy Whitman with JBW Designs. I want to thank all of those who are subscribers and who watch regularly, and then hopefully welcome some new members who haven't seen me before. So it is an absolutely beautiful day here in Michigan. I decided I'd open the windows because it's been actually kind of chilly this week, and I'm hoping you can hear the birds in the background. This is actually where I work. This is my office, so you can see that I have windows actually behind me. I have windows here and windows out the back of the house. And so I love it when summer is here because everything is green and looking really pretty. So let me first tell you, I wanted to tell you a couple things. First of all, as a designer, we wear so many hats. I have to laugh sometimes because I do all my own stitching. I do some of my finishing, not all of it. I am the office manager, which is kind of a joke, isn't it? Because I'm the only one up here except when my helper comes. I'm the account manager. I'm the shipping manager. So I wear many hats, but I'm so grateful to have a job that I love and that I also can fit it in around family activities. So I wanted to tell you what's going on because it's been crazy, but so much fun. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, I've lost track. I had two friends, good friends of another friend here in Kalamazoo, come to visit, and they stayed with my friend Connie, and one came from Des Moines and one from Traverse City. So we had a girls' weekend. We went to see Downton Abbey. We had dinner 3 nights together. It was just wonderful, laughing, talking, sharing our family stories. And I think it was the weekend before that. I can't remember. I've forgotten. I should have had a calendar here. Our granddaughter Ashton graduated. And then last weekend, we had many events because our grandson Liam graduated from high school. So we went to the awards ceremony last Friday morning and then his graduation Friday night. And I'm so proud of Liam. He won an award for Outstanding Student in History and also another award for character and determination, and it was voted on by the teachers. So good job, Liam. And he's off to college, actually in a couple weeks. And then let's see what else is going on. I'm trying to keep it all straight. Our grandson, Cody, our grandchildren have very, very different interests. I'm sure that's true in your family. We have, everything from athletes to historians to Cody is very interested in cars and welding, and he just got a certificate from the Gilmore Car Museum here in Kalamazoo, and he was involved in that program for 4 years, restoring antique cars, so that was quite cool. And then the last thing that I have to share with you, and I will get to stitchy stuff, I promise you, and this is really big news, is that our grandson Wyatt and his wife Kylie have decided to go on a mission trip, and it's going to be quite remarkable. They are going to Uganda for a year. They're going to be living in Kampala, which is the capital, and Wyatt is going to teach, and Kylie is going to mentor women and young girls. And we're so proud of them. We, in fact, tonight, Kylie, who is a graphic artist, is having an art show, auction, to raise money for their trip, and she's going to be auctioning off her paintings and their plants. They have quite a few houseplants, and so they need to get things out and into storage. And of course, plants aren't going to last for a year. So that will be fun to do tonight. So let me move on to some stitching information, but I do like to share with you why I'm gone and kind of what is happening. One of the things I want to share is that I have a Friends of JBW Deigns Facebook page, and I've mentioned it quite often. And when my helper was here this week, I said, Dawn, I am not getting any requests for new members. And all you have to do is go onto my page, and I think answer one or two simple questions and, you're in. It's not hard. But she went back to look, and it turns out that over 50 people had not been approved. And I'm so sorry about that. And somehow my my job as administrator had been deleted. So I'm back on board again, and welcome. And I encourage you to join my page because I do post contests every few weeks that are quite fun. The other thing that I did in the last couple of weeks is we had an antique show, which is once a month in Allegan, which is about 45 minutes from here. And it's great fun. This year I went by myself actually because my other friends were busy. So I did pick up a couple of really neat things. I love to collect linen pillowcases. So I got linen pillowcases. I also picked up a darling little piece of china that I wanted for a collection that I have downstairs. Let's see, what else did I get? Oh, I got some antique buttons. I thought this was so sweet. I love the little card. The card alone is worth putting on display. I found a wonderful booth that had all kinds of antique hoops, and wooden hoops, and I wish I had bought more. Hopefully she'll have more next month. And then my most exciting find was I found a sampler. And I don't often find samplers at this market, but this is such a sweet little piece. I've just gone on to Ancestry to try to date it. It says wrought by Melinda Farrell, let me get the light right here, age 12, and it has wonderful little flower motifs down here. And the back of it is most interesting and most telling because there is a label on the back that really is going to help me because it's from Troy, New York. And you can see that it is quite old. If I'm correct, I believe she was born in the early 1800s. So this would place this around 18, something early 1800s. It's done on a very, very, very coarse linen. So I plan to chart that eventually. And then I did not find, excuse the noise here, I did not find this particular sampler at an antique show, but I found it online, and I'm so excited about it because it's dated, it's very hard to read, but 1787. And it is worked by a girl named Jane Forbes, and her name is right, let's see if you can see it. Let's see if I can hold it up here. So Jane Forbes is right in here. And I just started doing some research on Jane, but I love the fact that it's so old. I love the colors. The interesting thing is, I'm going to show you the back. The colors have not changed that much since it was originally stitched. So all I can think of is that it was in a frame. Of course, when I bought it, it was just in this state with the little hem stitching around the edge. So those are two new treasures for my collection. So I'm so excited about those. That's down the road. So in the video today, I have several topics to cover. You can tell from my title. I told you about the antiques. I'm going to talk to you about how to finish a round because several people are interested in that. In fact, Annie of the Proper Stitcher just stitched my birds in the round. And I said to her, oh, just call me. We haven't had a chance to talk in person. But I thought I'd just give you another quick lesson on how I finish. And actually, I've been finishing this week. I have one new round design. And so I was busy finishing those models. And I'll show you, I'm not going to show you the models, but I'm going to show you what they're going to be mounted on. And so I'm going to walk through each step that I do. And hopefully that will help you if you're thinking about doing a round. So let me look at my notes here. So first of all, what do I want to start with? What I want to start with is I'm going to show you several finished rounds so that you can see the kinds of things that I'm talking about. So this, whoops, upside down. This particular design, which I've probably shown you in the past, is Love in the Round. It's actually, can you see there, it's actually mounted on a wooden lid that goes in a glass jar. And I love the glass jars because you can fill them with crinkled paper or candy or things like that. So that particular design, I'm going to tell you about how I mounted it. I finished it with the little pom-pom trim. And this is what the booklet looks like. So I'm going to show you a couple finished models, and then I'm going to walk you through all the steps. So another one, I think she's doing this one too. I think she's finished this one actually. Annie has. This is called Summer in the Round. And this finish is a little different than others that I've done. I mounted it as a flat piece, and I will talk about how to do that. I found a frame at Hobby Lobby, this was a year or so ago, that I thought it would look pretty in. And then I used scrapbook paper as the backing paper behind the design. And then I just made cording out of floss, twisted cording. So if some of you are confused about how to make the twisted cording, you'll laugh because as you know, I don't edit my videos. I'm not very tech savvy about how to do a demonstration, but if you want to see the cording, I'll try to figure out somehow how to do a demonstration for you. So I put the paper both on the back and the front. This could go on an easel or it could hang on the wall. So we'll talk about that finishing. And here's the third model I found. Oh, let me show you what that book looks like. So this is the Summer in the Round book. And one of the models that I did, I mounted on a glass jar. And then here's the other model on the back of the booklet. So here's the third design that I want to show you for a finishing idea. And this again, I found maybe at Michael's a couple years ago. I just liked it because it was a wooden pumpkin. It was just kind of a wood color, so I painted it, mounted the, this is Halloween in the Round, on it as a flat piece, and then just added ribbons to the top. What I like about this is it had a base to it, so you could stand it up. I forgot to tell you, I picked some flowers from our yard today for you. The peonies are just gorgeous, but we only have 2 bushes and they're on their way out, so I have to enjoy them every minute I can. So back to this. Halloween in the Round, this is what the booklet looks like. And then I had also found years ago, let me fold it back, the design stitched over one, and I mounted it on another wooden pumpkin that I found. So how do you do the rounds? Let me show you first some of the products that I've been purchasing lately, because my next round is also going to be a Halloween design. And so I purchased, you can see here, a glass jar from Hobby Lobby. And this I would fill it with Halloween candy. For the moment, I'm just going to fill it with paper. And this product, let me tell you the number of it, is 5503693. I hear my husband downstairs, so if you hear him talking, I may have to go and close the door. I forgot to leave a note for him that I was recording today. I painted the lid because I needed an orange color to mount the new piece on. So that was one product I purchased recently. This is another one that I purchased, and this is from Hobby Lobby also, and it is a small cutting board for food prep. And I painted it with a Delta terracotta, and I painted both sides, and I'm going to mount my design over one on this little wooden cutting board. And then the other pieces that I bought that I've used in the past for rounds that I just love are the little wooden boxes that are unpainted, again from Hobby Lobby. And that comes from the same, let's see, no, I've got 2 things that come from what they call their wood pile. And that number is 175756. All right, that noise is, will you just hold on for a minute? I'm going to run away. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. His voice is very loud. And then the other products that I bought, thank you, were also from the wood pile. And these I also thought, it comes two in a package. And all it is a circle black that's 5 inches. And that works with a lot of my designs. And these also you could paint, you could spray paint if you didn't want to paint by hand. Sometimes I can't get the right colors in a spray paint. And these two would be great for mounting your round pieces. And this number is 179663. So those are some of the wood products that I have purchased recently. So how do I do this? Well, first of all, I measure, let me grab one of the models here. Let me get some of this out of the way. So the first thing I do is I measure the circumference of the design that I'm doing. And I'm going to show you actually what I worked on yesterday. Whoops, I can't show you the front. I've got to show you the back. I'll show you that in a minute. So I measure the circumference. So let's pretend that this is 5 inches or 4 inches wide, because that's what I actually drew on my board. So then I take, I don't know, yes, you can see it right there. So I use something called comic board, which I've talked about before, to do my mounting. Now you could use mat board, but mat board is harder to cut because you have to use a knife to cut it. My professional finisher that I use, one of them, uses this comic board because it has a nice weight to it. And you can buy it online at Amazon. It comes like in packages of 50. If you have a comic book store in your town, they're used actually to store comic books. Some people use them to store fabric on, actually. So if you can see, let's see if I get close enough here. Yes. So I first draw a square the size that I'm going to use. And why do I do that? Because I want to make sure that when I draw my circle, that it is even and it's meeting all the edges. So then I take a protractor and I place the point of it right in the center of that. And then I just twirl this around to make my circle. In the past, let's see, I'm having so much trouble getting this up close enough for you. There you can see it. So then I would take just paper cutting scissors to cut the circle out. In the past, I used to run around the house trying to find a plate that was the right size so that I could trace it. That's too hard to do. It's easy to make any size you want with your little protractor. Then the next thing I do, which is a little different than probably most, is that instead of using batting, I use this peel and stick felt. So after the circle is cut out, then I'm going to take that cardboard circle, trace it on the back of the felt piece, and cut that out. And then the beauty of this is you don't have to do any gluing. Let's see if I can get an edge clear here. 1 second. So all you're going to do is peel off the backing, here's the sticky part of the felt, and place that on top of your circle that you've cut out. Now if you want a thicker, let's see, what do I want to say? I can't think of the word. A thicker feeling for the top of your piece, then add 2 layers of felt, or you can use batting and glue that down. So now let's talk about the gluing part. Oh, let me backtrack 1 step. One of the most important things is after you've got your cardboard and your batting or felt to mount it on, you need to cut out around your stitch design. And I want to give you a warning on that, because it's easy to not leave enough margin of past your design, because you've got a margin beyond the design, and then you've got more that you need to put to the back when you glue it around that circle. So I usually lay the design down on my work table, and I measure out at least 1 inch from all the edges, and then I cut my fabric, always a harrowing part, right? Because you're cutting your design and you want it to fit. So I cut that piece, my stitched piece, out. And then I'm going to mount it around the board and the batting. So this is one that I did yesterday, and I thought if I showed you up close, what do? I put a bead of fabric glue around all the edges. It's hard to do this on the screen. And then you're going to need to center, go back and forth to look at the front of your piece to make sure that you've centered it and the margins are all looking even. And then I'm calling this like a pinch pleat. So I'm kind of going like this with my fabric and I'm pinching it all the way around as I'm mounting it on that board. You can turn it over actually after you've done that, check to see that the margins are right, but you can also go back and lift this up, and if it doesn't look right, like sometimes there are a little, bumpy spots along the edge, I pull this up, I pull the fabric in and make it nice and even around the edge. Now the beauty of adding something to the edges is that actually you're going to be covering the edges with some kind of trim. So if you have a few bumps, it doesn't matter. So I pinch pleat my piece over the design, and there are times, let's see, do I have one? I don't have a model up here to show you, where you need to put a backing on your piece. And if that's true, then you're going to go through a couple more steps. I wish I'd brought one like that up here. But you're going to cut another cardboard circle. You're going to choose a fabric that complements your piece. You can pad that if you want. You're going to cover your circle with your fabric, and then those two round pieces you could sew together and then add a trim. Because sometimes you're going to put it on an easel or you're going to use it in another manner. Let's see, and then the trims that you can use on the edge, as I mentioned, you can use chenille, which comes from Dames of the Needle, or let me see, Lady Dot Creates. You could use the pom-pom trim. You could use rickrack, a tiny rickrack. You could use beads. You could use the twisted cording. And oftentimes I use I put often at the very base where the joining is of my trim, a little pin with a ribbon to just cover that joining. Or you could put a charm. There are lots of ideas of things you could do. So I hope that description helps you a little bit with how to finish a round. And I'm going to encourage you to contact me, write to me. Email is the best if something I've talked about is not clear, because I always enjoy hearing from you and I want to make sure that what I've talked about makes sense. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I stumbled a little there, but that's okay. So the other topic that I wanted to talk about with you today, which I started in the last video, was I talked about how much I love alphabets. And I've used them in so many of my designs. I think I showed 4 or 5 last time. So I pulled out a couple more. I'm going to clean up my desk a little bit here to show you this time. So let me straighten things out. All right, we'll leave that as is. So let's see here, another little piece here to move. So where did I put that? Here it is. I am organized, although sometimes it doesn't look that way, right? So I pulled out, I don't know, 5 or 6 other alphabet pieces to show you. And sometimes the alphabet pieces are very, very small designs. This came out quite a while ago. It's called Alphabet Owls. And I stitched it over 2, and I also stitched it over 1. So that's what that design looks like. Now you have to really study it to see where the alphabet is. So if you look at it carefully, you can see that there's an A right here, and then the B, C, D. And it's, as I've talked to you before about my round designs, when I use an alphabet to form a shape, it's really fun because you have to figure out how in the heck am I going to fit all those letters in, and still make it look like the shape that I want to. So this was stitched on a Northern cross linen, which I'm not sure is made anymore. It was a 30 count over 1, but you certainly could use 28 Lugana over 1 if you wanted to do that, or over 2. On Ada would work well also. So that's one of the alphabet designs. Here is another one. Let's see. It's funny because 2 of the models I could not locate. So the little dog is missing in action, the models for this. So I have an alphabet dogs design. And again, let's see, I guess those are the only pictures. And I use little doggy charms in the finishing. Actually, I had my professional finisher finish these, but we added the charms to the base, and I think that's so cute. And then I also did, of course, if you do dogs, you have to do cats. So there's also an alphabet cat design. And you can see I actually have 2 different fonts on this one. Let's see, do I have 2 different? I'm not sure, but these are 2 different fonts. So this is more of a simple font, and this one has curves. So you can see the A forms the ear, and up here it forms the ear on that one. And then this is what these 2 little models look like. And again, we added little kitty cat charms to the bottom. And here is the design again. That's the other font. So there are actually 2 designs in that booklet. I'll have to study the cat one to see if there are, or dog. Yeah, they're different designs. They're absolutely 2 different designs in that booklet. I haven't looked at them in a while. Let's see, and what was the kitty cat stitched on? I think that was stitched on a 28 count linen called Fairy Dust, which is kind of a pale yellow. So let's move on to some bigger alphabet designs that I've done in the past. The first one I'm going to show you, because it's right on top here, is called Seaside Alphabet. And it's really appropriate right now because we're right in the midst of summer. This doesn't have glass on it. Let me see if I hold it back here, if you can see the whole design. I'll turn it like that. So once again, I told you last time I like to start out sometimes with an A that just has a little flair to it. This has a lighthouse and fish and little sailboats and nautical flags and a beach umbrella, another lighthouse down here. And that, let's get this out of the way. That particular booklet looks like this. This was stitched actually on a polka dot linen from Fabric Flair, but this design was stitched quite a while ago. And I feel like, you can see it a little bit. I feel like the polka dots have faded a bit. And of course you could do it on any fabric of your choosing. And then I have another one in that same family for this time of year, and this was called the Patriotic ABCs. And again, it was stitched on a striped fabric. Fabric Flair has wonderful pattern fabrics, and I believe they still have a stripe in their line. So you'll have to go and look it up. But the booklet for that one looks like this. And this was fun to design too, because you have to think of all the things that go with 4th of July. The drum and the flag and the watermelon and the schoolhouse and the cabana and the waves and the horn and the stars. So that one was another one in my alphabet series. So I've got 3 more to show you. Let's see, this is on top here. This was stitched, Birds and Berries, was stitched on 28 linen from R&R called Irish Cream. And it is a fairly small piece. It's 9.5 by about 7.25. And the booklet for that looks like this. Now in this case, I used one alphabet with the same font throughout the whole piece. but I liked how it turned out. I liked the combination of the alphabet and the borders. And of course, that alphabet you could always use in other projects. So the last two designs that I have were done a while ago, but I've always loved how they turned out. This is called French Country Stocking. And if you studied this one, I did not put the alphabet in order. The letters are scattered throughout the whole piece. But what I tried to do was the larger letters actually spell out Christmas. And I've used a lot of antique motifs in this piece, certainly the reindeer, the horn, the heart, and it was so much fun to put together. And the finishing on this is beautiful. It's finished with a 12 fabric in the back and cording on the edges. And let me show you that booklet so I can tell you what it was stitched on. So this one was stitched on a 25 Lugana in light mocha. And I needed to use a larger count fabric because I wanted the stocking to be big enough to be useful and hold gifts. So let's see. This also shows, let's see, there's an alphabet inside the booklet so that you can put a name along the top. I'm going to bend this back because I stitched another model of this on a green and white checked linen. And I also love that model. Let's see, did I tell you what that one is? I did not, so I'm sorry about that. So that is the French Country Stocking using an alphabet, but not in the traditional way that I usually do it. And then this is the other stocking that I designed quite a while ago. And this is called Reindeer Stocking. And it too uses the alphabet, but it uses different fonts. And as you can see from many of my designs, I love finding antique reindeer motifs in old samplers. So that's definitely what has happened here. I've used a lot of them, which I often reuse in other pieces in other ways. So let me show you that booklet. And that booklet looks like this. And that was stitched on a 28 Cashel linen called Dirty Linen. And just in one color, but you could certainly vary your colors on that and make it really look unique. So those are my alphabet designs for today. I feel like a school teacher for today's lesson. I have a couple more things to talk to you about. I have a website, jbwdesigns.com, and I have a shop on that website, and my helper just added 45 new titles to the shop. So I'm very excited about that. We have more to add, and we kind of do it slowly as she has time. So I'm excited about those. And as I mentioned before, messaging doesn't work real well for me, but sending an email works great. Judy@jbwdesigns.com. Another thing I wanted to tell you about is that I'm sure many of you know, is that StitchCon is going on this weekend. It is an amazing event. I've never been to it. I would love to go. Maybe next year I'll make it. But it is an event put on by Keepsakes Quilting and Framing, Keepsakes Framing and Floral in Cincinnati, Ohio. And they have 300 people come, and it started actually yesterday, and stay for the whole weekend to stitch. Many of the attendees are Flosstubers, so they're not only exchanging gifts with one another, but having time to chat. The thing that's so marvelous that I've heard is that she not only has a bus that takes people to her shop from the convention center, but they also have an annex which has trunk shows. And my trunk show is at StitchCon for the month. So I'm very excited, and I'm anxious to hear how things do, because it's so much fun to see the models in person. So I have prize winners for today. I like to give prizes every time I do a video. I thank you for watching. I am going to tell you that the prize winners today can choose any of the booklets and titles that I shared with you today as their prize. So our three winners are Darlene Browning, Browning, Sandra, P-I, it looks like Pierre, but it's actually Pirrie, Pirrie, and Kathy Birch. So please contact me. I'm happy to send out your prize to you. And then I have one other announcement because one of my prize winners from last time's video has not contacted me yet. So I'll give you another chance, and it's Nicole Kraus, C-R-O-U-S. And if I don't hear from you, then we'll put that prize back in the pot and give it away in the next video. So I like to end with an inspirational quote, and I found a really good one this week that somebody that I know had posted. And it was written by Leo Biscaglia, who was a motivational speaker. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. Isn't that beautiful? It makes me cry. You can tell I'm getting quite tearful reading my quote. So I'm going to wish you a happy couple of weeks until I see you again. Father's Day is next weekend, so I hope you're able to celebrate with someone you love. I have several fathers in my life who I will be with. And then I'm going to be gardening and stitching like crazy because I have many models to do. So thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate your comments and your kind words. And I just want you to enjoy our hobby that we share in common. So thanks again. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.